Hi again, everyone. This is Holly.
And I'm Chris.
And we are back again for another video. As we had mentioned in our intro video, we will be doing a video each week on Fridays at 5:30. So this should be our second video in our series. I guess I'll make a little disclaimer. Don't mind the fact that sometimes we might be in the same clothes because we will pre-record some of these videos. So I'll just let you guys know that ahead of time. But this week we are going to start a mini series within our video series that we're kind of calling music minis. So our goal is that here and there, this won't happen every single week, we're going to kind of do a music themed video. So we're doing one this week. We most likely won't be doing one in our next week or our next video, but here and there we'll kind of pop in a music mini or a music themed video because we find that music is really, really powerful. As we will talk more as we're kind of doing this video, I think that music plays a huge role in our emotions and our healing and our self-care for a lot of people. And so we really wanted to make that a part of our series as we talk more about different emotions and different pieces of healing as well.
So today, our topic for our music minis is empowerment. So Holly and I have kind of pre-selected some songs from our own personal libraries that really speak to empowerment, the idea of empowerment, either for ourselves or a song that we think might speak to that for other people as well. So something cool about this is that music is pretty subjective in that sometimes the way that we interpret the lyrics or the meanings of a song might be different based off of that person and their lived experiences. So for some people, the songs that we select might not be empowering to them, and that's okay. So if you guys want to kind of do it along with us, look through your music library, look through some CDs that you might have, and figure out some songs that you find empowering for those moments where you might really need that kind of pick me up or that validation. So we're going to kind of go back and forth between them. For copyright purposes, Holly and I cannot play the music for you. So if there's a song that intrigues you and you would like to look into it, I believe you can find the music videos for all of them online, or if you want to look up the lyrics specifically, you could find those lyrics online as well. So I'm going to go first, and Holly can kind of go after that, which I might have said, but I'll say it again. So the first song that I selected from my library, and just as a preface, I feel like it's important to note, like Holly and I have very different tastes in music, which is not a bad thing. So we're going to have some diversity here, which might appeal to a number of people, but obviously it's just the two of us. So it's not super diverse in that aspect or comprehensive. So we just want to throw that out there. Like there's a lot of other genres of music that are going to be missed right here in this little video series because it's just coming from the two of us. So the first one that I picked from my music library was High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. So personally, I'm a huge Panic at the Disco fan. And I think High Hopes is a great song about empowerment because it really talks about kind of setting goals for yourself and having those high hopes and really working towards those goals, but in a realistic way. So in the song, he talks a little bit about, like not really coming from much or not having a lot and trying to get to a place where his dream was to be famous, to be a singer, and doing the work that he had to do to get there, which I think is a really important part. So there's a lot of work that goes along with that. And in the song, he talks about people doubting him, but doing what he needed to do to get there. So I think it's a really cool song about goal setting, about accomplishing what we set out to accomplish despite the odds or despite what other people might have thought or might think of the goals that we have set for ourselves.
And so, on to my first song. I chose a song that is called Thursday, and it is by a singer called Jess Glynn. I think her name is pronounced. I'm not totally positive. But my interpretation of the song is that the singer in the song is talking about how she's essentially been having a hard time lately. She can't find love. She's been feeling pretty depressed. And so the song is called Thursday because she's saying that on Thursday, she's going to give herself the day off. She's going to let herself drink if she wants to drink. She's not going to get dressed on Thursdays because she's recognizing that she has a really hard time. And so Thursday is the day for her to just kind of relax in a way or just be her day. And so with that in mind, I find this empowering in a way because I think it's kind of a song of recognition where she's having a hard time, but she's saying like, I need to take this day and I need to like take that time to recognize where I'm at and what I need for myself. And I think that that's really kind of powerful in a way. And the songs can be kind of raw at some moments, but it's at the end of the day, she's saying, like, I need this, and I'm recognizing that I need that. And so I really like that song.
So my second selection is Better Off This Way by A Day to Remember. So I know you might be noticing kind of like the punk theme. It's just the genre of music I listen to. I am always like just forever stuck in like early 2000s punk music. Regardless, Better Off This Way is by A Day to Remember, and it is a really powerful song, in my opinion, about setting boundaries. So in the song, the artist writes about this person or people in their life who rely on them for a lot of things, and to the point where it's unhealthy and causing a lot of harm to themselves. And what they say is that essentially, like, I'm setting these boundaries. I'm really proud of myself for like tearing down walls that I had, but I'm better for setting these boundaries, even though it's really difficult to do that. So there is some different themes in here that I think are important. There's some anger, there's some resentment, there's some kind of like reflection in a lot of ways on the relationship with this person and maybe some boundaries that had been compromised within it. But also this idea of like, at one point I really did care for this person, and this is a really hard decision for me, but I know that I'm better off this way. So for me, it's really empowering because it's about setting those boundaries with people that you care about, people that you might love, and recognizing that there's a lot of grief in letting go of toxic people. But in the end, like that decision, making that decision for yourself and for your mental health is super empowering. So this is one of my favorite songs. It's very like something that would hype me up a little bit. So I think it's a cool song, especially about empowerment when it comes to relationships, because boundary setting can be really hard. So sometimes we feel selfish. It's a reason why we don't set boundaries in many situations. And I think this is a good song to validate that, like, it's not selfish. If you're better off that way for your mental health, for your well being, that's okay.
And so my second song is Flawless by Beyonce. I think that this is a really empowering song and a really awesome song. So again, in my interpretation of the song, Beyonce is talking about how girls are oftentimes raised like a certain way in society. Girls can be sexualized. You're raised for marriage sometimes, or to kind of appeal to men. And so I know that in one part of the song, she talks about how like a lot of girls look up to him, but a lot of people look up to her, but a lot of people also think that she's just Jay-Z's wife. And she like is speaking to everyone and saying, like, I promise you, like everything that I have is because of everything I've worked for. And then obviously like the chorus that everyone knows is, she says, I woke up flawless and all of that stuff. And I think it's really empowering and really beautiful, especially for a young girl to be able to, or young any person, to be able to listen to when we think about the way that society can raise us, or kind of the expectations that can be placed on us, that you don't have to conform to those expectations sometimes, and that you can be perfect the way that you are. And I think that that is extremely empowering.
So as you can see, very different taste in music. Talking about and Ollie's talking about Beyonce. So there's obviously some variety here. Speaking of early 2000s, I just want to apologize for the quality of my webcam, which looks like it's from the early 2000s. And Holly was talking, I was noticing that and just figured I would draw attention to it. So I apologize. Hopefully you can all see me. I know it's a little dark and grainy, but regardless, my third and final song for empowerment is Scars by I Prevail. So this song came out somewhat recently, like probably a few years ago, was on the radio for quite some time, but it's a song that I find really empowering, and it's talking about kind of like fear that you might feel and being frozen in that fear and then breaking from it. It talks a lot about trauma and a lot about, the scars that they or someone might have from experiencing some trauma in their past, but breaking from that. And one of the lines in the song is about, they can cut us, but they won't wear our scars. Like, we have these and they're battle wounds, but from this, we've survived and we've really come out thriving. So it's a really, really great song. I love this song so much. I highly recommend looking it up. But it's something that I think even the name of the band speaks to empowerment. So the name is I Prevail, which is really something for me that just speaks to that idea of like confidence and coming out the other side from something. So that is my final selection, and I will let Holly tell you her final one.
And Chris knows what my final one is. And I will say this, we talked about our different music tastes, and Chris had a beautiful selection. And I just kind of will give you that my final selection is What Makes You Beautiful by One Direction. So as a huge One Direction fan myself, I'm totally kidding, but well, I'm not kidding about that. But this was kind of a joke submission, but kind of not. I think that what makes it kind of a joke submission is the chorus goes, what makes you beautiful is like essentially the fact that you don't know that you're beautiful, which I think that everyone should love themselves and think that they're beautiful. But I think it's empowering because despite where you are or what you think about yourself, it's important to remember that you're still beautiful. So that's empowering. And I love that song, and I think that it can be empowering in itself because it's fun to listen to. So that is just an empowering song. Sometimes. Sometimes songs can be empowering when they just raise us up.
So two types of people. Talk about like revival from past trauma and using like
listening to One Direction. Yep.
Solid strength from negative experience, and then One Direction. So some very different submissions and selections here today. But we would love to hear from all of you as well. What songs make you feel empowered? What are some things from different genres that we might not listen to? That you find empowering, and maybe sharing that with some other people as well, if there's songs that you think they would want to check out or maybe be useful for a time where you're feeling like you kind of need that empowerment or that motivation or that confidence or that validation, even that you can kind of put on, make a little playlist.
Yeah, so we would love for you guys to send in your comments and your submissions for your empowering songs, and we'd love to kind of keep this going in the comments. But even more than that too, we know that music is super subjective, and that what is empowering to us may not be empowering to you. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on our choices, as well as kind of what your choice for empowerment went. And as we kind of had mentioned before, we think that music in itself is so powerful and can be so empowering. So we're really excited to be able to continue doing these music mini videos here and there. And if you have a particular subject or emotion or kind of music mini specific thing that you guys are thinking that we should bring to the table or you'd like to join us for, we'd love to bring that to the table and do a video on that. Or as we have mentioned in the first video, if you guys have an idea for future videos or topics that you'd like us to discuss, it may be sexual assault specific or SARC service specific or not, we would love to hear in the comments below.
And like Holly said, like we all connect to music in different ways and for different reasons. And sometimes like our past experiences really contribute to that. So we would, again, love to hear from you all. Hopefully next time you see us, we will have a concrete name for our series to reference at the beginning. So keep submitting your ideas, your suggestions, and next time we will have a name. So thanks for joining us for our first music mini and our first official video that wasn't an introduction and getting to know you video. So we're really looking forward to future ones. As you can all tell, Holly and I have a lot of fun doing these, and we really want to make them kind of relatable, personable, not something that's super kind of like robotic or mundane. So hopefully we will get to interact with some of you all in the future. And thanks so much for watching this week.
Bye.